Hey Commanders fans! Before we dive into today's major updates, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to Commanders HQ, your go-to spot for everything burgundy and gold. We've got a lot to break down, from a possible huge addition to our pass rush to some exciting news about Washington, D.C. finally getting into the Super Bowl conversation. Let's get into it. Just because the 2025 NFL Draft is in the rearview mirror doesn't mean Adam Peters and the front office are done cooking. According to ESPN's John Keim, the Commanders might have their eyes on one of the biggest veteran names still floating on the free agency market, Von Miller. That's right, the two-time Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Famer could be a target to bolster Dan Quinn's defense. Let's be real. While the Commanders did a fantastic job retooling this roster, edge rusher remains a real concern. No Washington edge player tallied more than 5.5 sacks last season after Dante Fowler Jr. left in free agency, taking his team-leading 10.5 sacks with him. And even though the Commanders added some beef to the defensive line, focusing heavily on stopping the run, they didn't address the pass rush directly in the draft. That's a risky game when you're facing the likes of Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and even Daniel Jones multiple times a year. Now, Von Miller isn't the same guy who terrorized offenses in Denver and led the Rams to a Super Bowl just a few years ago. He's 36 and coming off a couple of injury-riddled seasons with the Buffalo Bills. But here's the thing. You don't need Von Miller to be an every-down monster. You need him to be a situational pass rush specialist. A closer who can get after the quarterback in key moments. Under Dan Quinn, with a defensive line already featuring names like Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, and Laramie Tunsil. Anchoring protection. For the offense, Von could absolutely thrive in a specialized role. Plus, don't underestimate the leadership factor. Having a future Hall of Famer in the locker room, especially around young talents like Trey Amos and Jordan Magee, could pay massive dividends. John Keim also mentioned other veteran options still available, like Za'Darius Smith, another productive edge rusher. The bottom line is simple. Washington isn't done adding pieces, and they clearly recognize that a little more pop off the edge could make this defense go from solid to dominant. If Peters can land Miller on a team-friendly, incentive-heavy deal, it would be a classic high-upside move, the kind of addition that good teams make when they're trying to take that next step. Stay tuned, Commanders fans. Things could heat up fast. But wait, there's even more huge news that could change. The future of the franchise forever. Today, it was officially announced that the Commanders will be moving into a brand new stadium at the old RFK site, with a projected opening in 2030. And here's the game changer. The stadium will have a full roof. That might not sound exciting at first, but it's a big deal. Right now, Washington, D.C. has never hosted a Super Bowl. Why? Simple. The February weather is just too cold for the NFL's liking in an open-air stadium. But now, with a climate-controlled enclosed stadium, the Commanders are dramatically increasing their chances of landing the NFL's biggest event. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell himself spoke about it today, saying, "I didn't come here to announce that, but I would say dramatically." Translation: DC is officially on the radar. Hosting a Super Bowl isn't just a prestige thing, although, let's be honest, it would be incredible to hear, "Welcome to Super Bowl El Ahly, live from Washington, D.C." It's also a massive economic boost and a powerful symbol that the Commanders are back to being one of the crown jewel franchises of the NFL. Let's pump the brakes just a little. Super Bowl sites are already locked in through 2028, 2026, Santa Clara, 2027, Los Angeles, 2028, Atlanta, and the new stadium won't be ready until 2030. But the timeline lines up perfectly for Washington to make a serious bid for Super Bowl 69 or maybe 70. Imagine it, Jaden Daniels in his prime, a new world-class stadium, and the world watching Washington, D.C. shine on the biggest stage. Leading up to the draft, the buzz around Washington was electric. Would Adam Peters trade down for more picks? Would he make a blockbuster move up the board for a defensive superstar? Could a surprise name be called at Nuggets 12? Instead, the Commanders went with a steady, no-flash pick in offensive tackle Josh Connolly Jr. Surprising a few fans and analysts who expected a more aggressive swing for a defensive playmaker. NFL.com's Chad Reuter didn't hold back in his initial reaction, giving the Commanders' Day 1 effort a C+ grade. Not a failing grade, but definitely not the glowing approval many had hoped for. Still, if we know anything about this new regime under Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, it's that they're playing the long game, not trying to win headlines in April. Why Josh Connolly Jr. was the right call. Let's break this down. Josh Connolly Jr. was always projected as a late first-round talent. He's an athletic, technically sound tackle who fits perfectly into the physical, smash-mouth identity Quinn wants to establish. And when you already have stars like Laramie Tunsil protecting Jaden Daniels' blindside and Brandon Coleman locked in at right tackle, you aren't desperate. You're thinking about depth, succession plans, and protecting your franchise QB for years to come. Connolly brings youth, flexibility, he can swing between left and right tackle if needed, and attitude to a line that's quietly becoming one of the best in the NFC East. While Day 1 got mixed reviews, Day 2 is where the Commanders draft truly shined, and it's a huge reason why the overall class earned a solid B grade. Late in round 2, the Commanders selected Trey Amos, an aggressive, athletic cornerback who plays with the kind of edge and toughness Dan Quinn loves in his secondary. Amos profiles as a perfect complement to veteran star Marshawn Lattimore, whom the Commanders had already acquired by trading away their 3rd round pick. Reuter praised the move, highlighting Amos's physicality, coverage instincts, and ability to compete immediately for playing time. In short, Washington didn't just draft for need, they drafted for scheme fit. And that's how sustainable playoff caliber rosters are built. Another reason Washington didn't load up on Day 3 picks. They'd already spent those selections wisely, trading for Laramie Tunsil and Marshawn Lattimore, 2 legitimate, proven veterans who instantly raised the team's ceiling. Instead of hoping for a late-round flyer to develop into something special, Peters opted for surefire impact players. When you think about it that way, those missing Day 3 picks look more like smart, win-now moves that still balance the future. Exactly what a rising team should be doing. But don't sleep on the guys. Washington did pick late Malik Lane staying in the DMV. Huge win. The dynamic wide receiver can line up inside or outside and brings home run ability every time he touches the ball. Lane could end up being a secret weapon in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, especially paired with Deebo Samuel and Terry. McLaurin, Noah Madrano, a fast, fluid linebacker who immediately boosts special teams and could blossom into a rotational player at outside linebacker. Madrano flies around the field, a true Dan Quinn-style defender. Krosky Merritt, the running, back out of the small school circuit, has legit speed and vision. Reuter called it early. You'll be seeing him ripping through arm tackles and burning defenders in the open field before you know it. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a smart, layered approach to roster building that combines high floor, veterans, scheme-fit rookies, and developmental athletes with real upside. Look, the Washington Commanders are changing before our very eyes. A fearless GM in Adam Peters. A dynamic young quarterback in Jaden Daniels. A stadium on the horizon that could finally bring the Super Bowl to the nation's capital. And now, possibly adding a future Hall of Famer like Von Miller to chase. A Lombardi trophy sooner rather than later. This isn't the same old Washington. This is a team building for greatness. The next few months are going to be crucial. Will Peters pull the trigger and bring Von Miller to DC? Will we start seeing renderings of the stadium that could host the biggest game in sports? One thing's for sure, Commanders fans better buckle up, because the ride is just getting started. What do you think, Commanders fans? Would you want Washington to sign Von Miller? Or should they target a younger pass rusher like Zadarius Smith? And how hyped are you for the new stadium plans? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe. To Commanders HQ, And turn on notifications so you never miss a second of this new era for the Burgundy and Gold.